Before diving into the dark web, it's essential to make an introduction to the principal terms of the digital world, as it was presented for the first time in the 1960s. Initially, it must be outlined that even though many people use the interchangeable terms Internet and World Wide Web, the two terms are not synonymous. The Internet and the web are two separate but of course related things. Portion of it. Content on the World Wide Web can be broken down into two basic. When you buy something on Amazon or visit any of your usual daily websites, you are surfing an area of the web that is under constant surveillance by governments across the world. Surface web is made up of static and fixed pages. Static pages do not depend on a database for their content. They reside on a server waiting to be retrieved and are basically HTML files whose content never changes. Thus, any reference to surface web will be referring to common websites, that is, sites whose domain end in .com, .org, .net or similar variation and whose content does not require any special configuration to access. On the other hand, the deep web was also part of the web at its conception, and in basic terms, it is the opposite of surface because its search engines cannot find its content. This is the key difference between the two in real data terms. Sites on the surface internet are indexed for search engines to find, but the deep web is not indexed. However, both are also accessible by the public. They just require different methods to access them. Usually a specific password, encrypted browser, or a set of login details. Common image used to represent the meaning of surface versus deep web is that of an iceberg. The visible portion of the iceberg represents a very small part of the whole is in this case being the whole of the internet, surface and deep web. The deep web contains all of our medical records, financial records, social media files and plenty other important information we want and need to keep secure. It is this need to keep secure files that gave rise to the need to keep a portion of the web secured away from being Googled at the impulse of anybody at any time. It is estimated that the deep web contains about 102,000 unstructured databases and 348,000 structured databases. In other words, there is a ratio of 3.4 structured data sources for every one unstructured source. Finally, the dark web is part of the deep web, but it has one major difference. It is not possible to get to the dark web using a regular web browser. A special browser is needed specifically designed for the tasks such as Tor or similar browser technology. These browsers work differently than conventional browsers, and they are by far the best and most popular, with an estimated 2.5 million daily users. Named the Onion Router, it was quickly coined with a shorter Tor, with its name coming from application layer encryption within communication protocol stacks, as many layers representing the layers of an onion. With Tor, you'll be able to reach not only the dark web, but the even smaller subsection known as the Tor network. The technology to create the dark web was initially created by the US government in the mid-1990s to allow spies and intelligence agencies to anonymously send and receive messages. So easily one can realize that its anonymous nature makes it a good place for all kinds of things people wouldn't dare do on the surface web. The term the dark web is often used interchangeably with the deep web due to the quantity of hidden services on the dark net. The term is often inaccurately used interchangeably with the deep web due to Tor's history as a platform that could not be search indexed. Mixing uses of both these terms have been described as inaccurate. The darknet, as its name depicts, records images of shadowy allies, malicious, hard-faced individuals and socially damaging activities, covering a range from political protesters, rebels, to drug dealers, to terrorists and gun dealers, to pedophiles, and everything in between. Darknets are used for several legitimate purposes: to avoid identity theft, for marketing tracking, to circumvent censorship, and to perform research on topics that might be sensitive in certain countries. We will describe both the legitimate and criminal stakeholders of the darknet, as well as their motives behind the use of this side of the web. As we will realize later, many of the sites of the dark web strive to be private or at least only accessible to those who know what they are looking for. Having until now presented synoptically the three web layers, it is possible to present an easy view of the differences among them. As we learned in the previous video, the dark web is intentionally hidden from the general public simple users. The dark web consists of overlay networks known as darknets, which offer various hidden services. These networks can only be accessed using specific software such as Tor and I2P. In this video, we will describe the technical infrastructure of the dark web through the analysis of the best-known darknets and the tools used to access them. None of the mentioned software was created to provide safe passage and dissemination of illegal markets and products in neither surface nor deep web. Nevertheless, the anonymity and data encryption provided by using software like Tor made them as a tool used by people wanting to sell their illegal services, products, hacking for hire, zero-day vulnerabilities, guns, drugs, etc. Furthermore, for extremists and terrorists who want to disseminate their opinion, propaganda and proselytize people, as well as for people sharing illegal videos and images. As described before, services on the dark web are intentionally hidden, and thus the .onion sites do not have the formatting used in the ClearNet, such as www.example.com. The .onion top-level domain is specifically used to access hidden services hosted only on the Tor network, and it is not part of the Internet DNS route. Furthermore, the addresses under the .onion consist of 16 alphanumeric characters. A user needs to either know the exact address of a hidden service or to use a search engine specifically designed to work on the .onion. A few examples of such sites are the following. Torch is a Tor search engine and can be accessed through this link. Or Not Evil. Not Evil is another search engine designed for the Tor network. I provide a PDF with these clickable links for you to download with this lesson, so have a look to PDF named infrastructure.darkweb.pdf. Okay, let's start an overview of the Tor project. The Onion Routing project, or simply Tor, is employing the third generation of the Onion routing technique in order to provide anonymous surfing and communication. The Onion routing technique was developed in the mid-90s by the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory and the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. to provide safe communication between operatives in the field and intelligence gathering by anonymizing TCP-based applications. In 2002, the Naval Laboratory released the source code of Tor, and the Electronic Frontier Foundation undertook Tor's founding, becoming the cornerstone for the creation of the Tor project organization responsible for maintaining, upgrading, and shaping Tor network as it is nowadays. How does the transmission of data work? Data transmitted using the onion routing is encapsulated in multiple layers of encryption, resembling the layers of an onion. The numbers of layers is equal to the number of users acting as nodes, also known as relays. This technique assists the user to remain anonymous and evade eavesdropping and traffic analysis techniques which could reveal the origin, destination, and content of a message. Tor users have to decide whether they will participate in the network as nodes or not, thus it is in volunteer basis. As the first generation of onion routing technique, Tor is anonymizing TCP packets, while offering significant improvements in comparison with the first generation, such as perfect forward secrecy, separation of protocol cleaning from anonymity. Many TCP streams can share one circuit, leaky pipe circuit topology, congestion control, directory servers, variable exit policies, end-to-end integrity checking, rendezvous points, and hidden services. Tor consists mainly of the Tor browser, which offers the appropriate setting in order to connect to the Tor network and the hidden servicing sites hosted in the Tor network. Furthermore, Tor network consists of the Tor nodes and the directory servers, while the nodes share part of their bandwidth, meaning that it will increase or decrease based on the number of the nodes. Thus, the higher the number of nodes in Tor, the faster it will be. Tor nodes or relays are created by users offering their computers purely on a volunteer basis in order to be used as a node. It is highly important to explain that the higher number of nodes means higher available bandwidth, increased robustness of the network against attacks, and making it more difficult to analyze the traffic. Tor consists of three types of nodes based on the guard entry node. The guard node is the first node each user will hop to in order to connect to the Tor network and to the requested service or site. The selection of the guard nodes is done at the user level, and the selection is random in order to minimize the chances of eavesdropping. Then we have the middle or internal node. Middle nodes are the nodes that exist between the guard node and the exit node. Exit nodes are the last nodes before a user reaches the requested destination, and thus this type of node is responsible for sending the request either out of the Tor network or to a hidden service. Let's talk about the bridge node. The main difference with the aforementioned nodes is that bridges are not listed in the main Tor directory authority. Thus, it will be difficult for ISPs to block Tor traffic passing through these bridges. At the moment of recording this video, Tor has more than 1,500 IPv4 bridges and around 250 IPv6 bridges. The Tor directory authorities, which are 10 at present, are databases which contain information and the list of all the active nodes at the network. Thus, they have complete knowledge and view of the network's topology. Information relevant to the routers stored in the directory authorities is encrypted with digital signature. To further secure both the directory authorities as well as the entire Tor network, the administrator of each server will process and approve information regarding nodes in order to be published to users. In order for a user to connect to the Tor network, the user's Tor client will have to communicate with the Tor directory authority, holding a list of all the available Tor nodes. Once the user receives this list, the client will randomly decide the path of nodes that will be used in order to reach the destination server, which in turn publishes the hidden service the person is looking for. Each node has knowledge only for the previous and next node, one-hop knowledge of the network, exchanging a different encryption key each time. This method ensures that even if one node is compromised, it will not be able to identify the entire path of the Tor network. In order for a route or circuit to be formed, the Tor browser will download the current list of registered nodes from the directory authorities, and it will randomly select a guard node. Then it will select the rest of the nodes based on their bandwidth and stability. Highest bandwidth and only stable nodes are selected. By default, when 3 nodes are selected, the circuit is formed, and the generation of encryption keys follows. Tor is available for Windows, Apple, macOS, and Linux, and it can be downloaded from the link shown on the screen. You can download the PDF available for this video with active link. The browser is available in 16 languages, including Arabic, Deutsch, Spanish, Farsi, French, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Dutch, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Turkish, Vietnamese, and Chinese, and obviously in English. To install Tor in Windows machines is a straightforward procedure. The user has to download the appropriate file from the list, save the file, and then open it. Choose Run. Choose your language of preference and press Install. When the installation is complete, press Finish, run the Tor browser and click Connect. As you can see here, you can set the preferences for security level, or set your default search engine, manage your extensions, and so on. In this brief video, I'll show you how to install Tor on Mac. So, write Tor browser in the Safari address bar. Now click on the first link. Choose the Download for Mac OS button. Wait for the download to complete. Move the downloaded file into the application folder. Now open Tor, then click Connect. Okay, you're done. Okay, now let's see in the next tutorial how to install Tor on Linux. There is no need to explain because it's quite simple. Choose the Download for Linux button here. Wait for the download to complete. Then open Tor and click Connect. As we saw in the previous videos, Tor is a free open source software that can be used for anonymous internet browsing. We learned that the Tor network masks a user's identity by randomly moving traffic between multiple different Tor nodes or relays. Data enters the Tor network at the entry node, guard relay travels between several middle nodes, and leaves the network through an exit node while being encrypted in layers at each node inside the Tor network. The entry node will know the IP address of the user but will not know what target server they are communicating with. Each middle node will only ever know the IP address of the previous node and the next node, so they do not know any information about the user's IP address or the target server. The exit node will know who the target server is but not the user's original IP address. Data sent from the exit node to the target server and cannot be traced back to the user because the exit node appears to be the origin of the traffic. Okay, let's simplify things and instead compare out internet traffic to a package sent in the mail. If I want to send a package to a friend, the simplest way to do that is to put my return address on the package and ship it. Once my friend gets the package, they can send it back because it's not anonymous. It has my address right there on the package. This is roughly how regular internet traffic works. We could go one step further and we could ship our package to FedEx with instructions to forward the package onto our friend. Now our friend only knows that the package is coming from FedEx and not from us. The trouble with this approach is that FedEx knows that we sent a package and that our friend received it. This whole process is slightly more anonymous, but we have to place our trust in FedEx. This is the internet equivalent of using a VPN. Now Tor takes things even further. To get our package delivered to our friend, we will first ship our package to UPS and have UPS deliver it to FedEx. Then we will have FedEx deliver it to Canada Post, and finally we will have Canada Post deliver the package to our friend. In this expensive chain of courier companies we managed to get our package delivered. Only UPS is aware that we sent a package. Additionally, only Canada Post knows that our friend received a package. Now, if some malicious person is watching our mail, they will only know that we are sending packages to UPS. This is roughly how the Tor network operates and handles private internet communication. Everything gets transmitted from node to node until the message reaches its destination. Additionally, our return address is only known to that first node. After that, each subsequent node will only know the IP address of the previous node, thus ensuring some anonymity. The dark web and the underlying darknets provide high levels of anonymity and security due to their architecture and the reason the dark web initially designed for. As it was previously mentioned, the dark web was developed to provide anonymity and safety to spies and field agents. Nevertheless, this philosophy and the actual architecture of the darknets provided a safe environment for criminal activities. It is highly difficult to accurately classify the sites in the different darknets due to the structure. Most studies have been focused on Tor as it is the most well-known and used darknet. According to a report published by Intelliact, there were more legal websites than illegal in Tor under the UK and USA. These findings were based on machine learning algorithms which were responsible for the classification of the data. While based on manual classification of 1,000 websites, the research found that 68% of the sites contained illegal material. To reach to this conclusion, almost 15,000 websites in total were analyzed. Due to the inherent properties of Tor, a quantitative analysis of the use of Tor to establish a ratio between the legal and illicit use is very challenging. There is no academic agreement on this question and no hard numbers are presented. As it is highly difficult to accurately classify the content of the dark web, it is certain that two generic categories of actors visit it, the non-criminal and criminal. The double nature of the dark web, where legitimate activities take place in parallel to criminal ones, requires a balance between individual freedoms such as freedom of speech and the need to fight crime. We can therefore see the dark web used for several legitimate purposes as an example of the good, while for its criminal purposes both as the bad and the ugly examples of the digital world of social media, and although based on digital communication and digital transactions, it may have a strong negative effect on the physical public safety and security. Okay, let me talk about the users of the dark web. The darknets and the software used to grant access provide great anonymity and communication. None of the darknets are created to facilitate illicit actions, but to provide secure communication between legit users. For example, field operatives, journalists, and whistleblowers. Nevertheless, technology itself is agnostic in terms of usage and depends on the type of person using it and for which purpose. Criminal actors took advantage of the safe passage this technology offers, and therefore users of the dark web are classified into two major categories. The non-criminal users utilizing the anonymity and security advantages of dark web, the criminal actors carrying out illegal activities facilitated by the dark web environment. Legitimate users move from the surface to the dark web to protect their identities, sources, and privacy through the anonymity, security, and safety provided in the dark web environment. Whereas, at the same time, criminals take the same advantages as weapons to act illegally in the same space. There are many groups of legitimate users from different sectors, including those for policing the criminality, who become users of the dark web for specific purposes by taking advantage of its features. Normal people use the dark web for various reasons, but mainly to browse the web without being tracked. Those protecting their privacy to be exposed in various risks. The Tor project lists some of these reasons below and recommends users to make use of Tor browser in order to protect their privacy from personal data, secure and private communication with organizations which are giving away personal information and mailing lists to third parties, to protect their current geolocation through revealing their IP, to have access to sensitive research topics for which in some countries is restricted in the surface web, or to have access to the internet and social media platforms such as Facebook or YouTube that from time to time are being blocked by the governments in some countries, to protect their privacy from online surveillance and monitoring by making it extremely difficult for an observer to correlate the visiting sites with the physical world identity. Apart from the journalism and the media actors, many of which could also be considered as part of the activist groups, those using darknets are human rights organizations, social movements, political activists. Human rights activists are provided with the ability to raise their voice and report anonymously work labor on to organize people in accordance with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Global Voices and the Human Rights Watch highly recommend the use of browsers providing great anonymity such as Tor for the aforementioned purposes in order to avoid censorship. Okay, let's see now some businesses and IT industry. Corporate use of the dark web is made for two major reasons. Either to make dark business or to protect their corporations' resources, customers, and products. The first part is covered in more detail in one of the following videos dedicated to darknet markets. For the second part, the relevant IT departments, for example security specialists, security incident response, have to familiarize themselves with the dark web in order to successfully monitor the darknet and its markets regarding new computer vulnerabilities, exploits, and hacking tools. This information will assist them to take the appropriate countermeasures, limiting their exposure to the associated risks. Large corporations face today many cyber threats coming from their internal or external environment. Some of these corporate threats include but not limited to phishing attacks, malware, distributed denial of service attacks, and hacking attacks leading to corporate sensitive data. Apart from the corporate data and identity information, corporate assets such as intellectual properties, software, and digital products are stolen and appearing more and more in the darknet marketplaces for sale and ransomware. In 2014, hackers stole the data of 500 million users from Yahoo, including names, email addresses, telephone numbers, birth dates, and encrypted passwords, with many users having also built around the free mail services their digital identities from their bank accounts to photo albums. A similar case in 2016 was the uTorrent breach. Data stolen of 400,000 accounts. In both cases, stolen data appeared on the darknet illicit marketplaces. The point of stealing all that data, of course, was to make money from it, and the darknet tells you how to do that. Another great example to describe the aforementioned is the healthcare IT industry, one of the most globally growing industries. In 2016, InfoArmor, an underground research team, detected proprietary source code of Pilotfish Technology, a healthcare software vendor which appeared for sale on the popular darknet marketplace Alphabay. In addition to source codes, some compilation instructions have the specific usernames of Pilotfish employees, creating further risk to the organization. The threat actor claimed also to have access to their customer database, which they accessed in order to steal records and information about the specific clients of the company. This information included customer credentials, which could easily be used for targeted spear phishing attacks. InfoArmor identified multiple such instances where cybercriminals had infiltrated electronic health record systems and leveraged the compromised data for extortion and ransom. For the protection from all the above potential threats, businesses must monitor the cybercriminal underground and react to potential darknet threats and stolen assets by involving a range of departments from IT, legal, HR, and marketing while focusing on the following key points. Apply new, up-to-date and strong encryption methods on all sensitive corporate data. Set up state-of-the-art intrusion detection systems and intrusion prevention systems. Monitor darknets to identify trends in terms of attacks and newly discovered vulnerabilities. Monitor organizations' hardware and network use and investigate darknet access. Prepare a response plan to guide the corporate response to cyber attacks, loss of sensitive data or IP appearing on the darknet. So far we talked about hacktivism. One of the digital forms of activism involves employing hacking skills and tools in order to attack governmental institutions and private organizations on most occasions. Activists are working in groups motivated by socio-political beliefs and ideology. Furthermore, they are acting anonymously and in most cases, instead of engaging in healthy debates and sharing their ideas, they will be more aggressive using criticism. Serve their purposes, while at the same time they are appreciated from the dark forum members. In addition, there are plenty of forums consisting of non-hacktivist members, but the information that is posted and sold there is extracted for defacements, malicious code injection, DDoS attacks, and socially engineered account takeovers. There is another form of hacktivism that is observed on the dark web and internet generally. For instance, the most known hacktivist group is Anonymous. Anonymous is well known for its March protests in the physical world and for DDoS attacks and hacking in the digital world. Last year, Anonymous locked down thousands of dark web websites accessible through Tor in order to protest against child sexual exploitation, material and drug selling that was moved through these websites. Anonymous justified their actions by claiming that the majority of data that was compromised contained child sexual exploitation material. After that, they offered to sell the compromised data back to the website owners. Anonymous launched a school for hacktivists on the dark web called Onion IRC in order to train and share hacking technical skills with the members and the awareness of anonymity software. Onion IRC is a chat forum that anyone can join, enjoying the anonymity that encrypted communication provides. The forum was advertised to the public through a video posted to YouTube that hacktivists promoted through their Twitter accounts, and so far plenty of campaigns took place varying from DOS attacks, hacking email accounts, and dumping documents online to advanced attacks that have compromised government agencies and other high-profile targets. Finally, the forum members generate comprehensible documentation and instructions on how to create your own Tor hidden services, chat networks, and other technical stuff, and as a result, many young people who admire technology are charmed and attracted to these groups. Hackers, either black, white or grey hat, are using almost the same tools and techniques but with different motives and goals. Black hats are elite hackers undergoing illegal activities, even though other actors in the previous videos can be characterized as black hats like activists. For this taxonomy we identify as black hats individuals or groups with excellent computer skills. Their primary motive is to earn money and on occasions to cause significant damages. To the same direction are oriented the virus hacking tool coders, which are individuals or teams of expert programmers, elite hacking tool coders with excellent computer skills as well. The focus of these actors is to develop computer viruses, malwares, rootkits, exploits, malicious code, and hacking toolkits in order to distribute it either to earn money in black markets or freely. The main buyers are non-expert individuals who want to become hackers. Combined with the desire for gaining profit, the above categories may create or contribute actively to design and implementation of various malware forms, the most well-known and profitable to be, at the time, ransomware and DDoS attacks. The main purpose of the above is to panic their victims, creating the unavailability to their services and data, which is able to create a lot of damage and malfunction, especially to businesses and large companies. The victim, in order to gain access again to his computer or network system, is required to pay a large amount of money to the hackers. In other words, this is a cyber extortion by which the hackers gain a lot of profit, and it is concerned to be a more and more increasing phenomenon. In addition, many hackers that do not intend to perform their own cyber attacks to websites and network infrastructures dispose of their malware by selling it for large amounts on the dark web, avoiding the risk of losing their anonymity and getting caught somehow by the law enforcement. Attackers sponsored and driven by countries, cyber syndicates and cyber terrorists. The attackers aim to cause damage by gaining illegal access to state and trade secrets, technology concepts, ideas and plans, and in general artifacts of value for a country or state. Their intention often include the harm and damages on critical infrastructure, and in general they seek to damage the state's economy. With the rising of the dark web and the dark markets, cyber attacks are becoming more complex and intense than ever, posing a significant danger and concern to governments. For that reason, one of the government's reactions is the development of highly sophisticated malwares in order to exploit zero-day vulnerabilities and compromise the target. However, such action poses new concerns just in case a government's malware will be compromised and become available for anyone that will pay for it on the dark web. This is not far from reality. It has already happened when you could imagine how cybercriminals, cyberterrorists, and even state-sponsored hackers would enhance and use it in an unpredictable ways, like harm critical infrastructures. In addition, in 2013, hundreds of millions of Yahoo email accounts were compromised, and their data, such as phone numbers, passwords, security questions, and alternative emails, were breached. All of this data had been available since then on the dark web to any enterprise or entity that desired this data thesaurus with the money equivalents up to $300,000. Illegal trades and sales are growing exponentially, although big dark markets such as Alphabet have been shut down by Elias. This happens due to the fact that illicit goods have big demand and criminals seek for new clients online aiming at the biggest profit. The financial exchanges take place with cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. Most illegal trades that take place concern guns, explosives, drugs, and stolen items such as credit cards. Terrorist groups are dark web markets, darknet markets, dark markets, black markets, and crypto markets are some of the new terms that have been introduced in the recent years, referring to all the online illicit marketplaces that have been developed and operate in the dark web environment. These relatively new online market spaces are very similar to the existing marketplaces in the surface web like Amazon, eBay, providing though illegal goods, trading services and transaction facilities to their customers under advanced encryption, protecting the anonymity of their users and making consequently the whole market totally anonymous. The underground economy is the emerging and increasing trend in the dark market transactions. Among all the internet and mobile technologies that are continuously evolving, enabling the criminals to operate in the darknet market world, digital currencies known as cryptocurrencies are some more of such digital tools which are currently transforming our criminal underworld. These dark markets are facilitating the payment of transactions between sellers and buyers for their illegal trading activities and posing threats for money laundering and terrorist financing. Before transactions are initiated, money should first be converted to cryptocurrencies. When a product or substance changes its status from legal to illegal, there is usually also a sales shift from surface web to the darknet marketplaces. VPN service or ITP browser, PGP encryption, decryption, and authentication are some of the main features of these sites for safe access, communication, and information sharing. Bitcoin, Monero, or other cryptocurrencies are used for safe trading and payments. Special focus is also given by the market developers to the design with a good-looking display and the user-friendly interface of the market. Most of the dark markets require buyers and vendors to register by filling registration forms with their data. Since anonymity is the primary concern, it is recommended not to fill detailed contact and other information which will reveal the real identities. Vendors' trust is another significant characteristic for the market's overall trust. Vendors' trust levels, among other factors, depend very much on their activity in the site. The more active a vendor is, the higher level of his trust. One phenomenon that has been observed in the darknet markets is the sudden exit or shifts of some markets from the dark web. This usually takes place when, after a sufficiently large amount of money in cryptocurrencies are shifted to these marketplaces, they close the site in order to block outgoing transfers and make off with the money they have locked into it. A suspect of such type of an exit scam was the case of the Nucleus market, which all of a sudden disappeared on April 13, 2016. Many of such sites, like the Sheep Marketplace and the Real Deer Market, became also suddenly unreachable in 2016 when their owners and the means vanished after absconding millions of dollars worth of the marketplaces. When a popular darknet market is closed down, all its users are moving to other prominent dark markets is increasing in a very short time exponentially their members and activities. For example, when Silk Road 2.0 was taken down in 2015, Agora and Evolution marketplaces increased their membership by 20%. We had a similar case after the takedown of Alphabay when many of its users moved to Hansa Market. Many of these users have been identified. The authorities, in the meantime, had taken over the control of the Hansa Market. According to the content, type of goods and services on the dark web sites, the following 6 major types of dark markets are identified among other dark web categories. Arms, with trading of firearms, weapons and other related goods illegally sold by firearm traffickers to private individuals, organized crime groups and terrorists. Drugs, with manufacturing or trading of a large variety of illegal drugs, either pharmaceutical or otherwise, including illegal prescription medicines. Offers on drugs vary from heroin, cocaine, marijuana, methamphetamines, and various forms of acid to markets such as those trading anabolic steroids and Viagra-made medication. Then we have fraud and counterfeits, the document fraud with the online trading of fraudulent, forged, stolen and counterfeited documents and cards, such as fake passports or identification cards, cloned and stolen credit cards or accounts is emerging as one of the fastest growing markets in all types of criminal activities, including terrorism. Card shops, for example, are one of the specialty markets in the dark web. Then we have guides and tutorials for darknet market users on fraud, hacking, drugs, and many security-related and anonymity issues. Finally, digital goods and services such as software, source code, botnets and malware, ebooks, game keys, hosting, VPN and security services, currency exchanges, and financial services. Let me introduce to you the multisig or trusted markets. Some markets are considered as multisig markets because they apply transactions with multiple signatures. Multi-signature wallets, or multisig for short, are cryptocurrency wallets that require 2 or more private keys to sign and send a transaction. The storage method requires multiple cryptographic signatures, like a private key's unique fingerprint to access the wallet. In contrast with the single signature transactions in the Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency networks where payment requires only one signature, the multi-signature transactions require the signature of multiple parts before funds are transferred and therefore require more than one key to authorize such transactions, making the payment process safer for all actors. In multisig markets, there are 3 keys generated, which either all or 2 of them are required to release the payment. One key is with the vendor, the other is with the buyer, and the third is with the market. This category of darknet markets that use multisig transactions is also known as trusted markets, since they are usually those that have good reputation, with no security issues and no scamming or other technical issues. Wall Street Market, cannabis growers and merchant cooperative are some examples of active multisig markets. Let's see now the escrow markets. Other markets are using regular escrow, where the money required to buy the item is removed from the buyer's wallet and placed in a market escrow account to ensure the required cash will be there when someone takes the purchase order. Dream Market and the Majestic Garden Market are some examples of active escrow markets. The Finnish early markets, where payments are sent directly to the vendor. This method is used with trusted vendors or those with whom the transactions were successful in the past. For first-time purchases, though, this method is not so safe since there is no prior payment experience with vendors and payments cannot be claimed back in case the purchased items are not received. Let's talk now about invite referral markets. This category is for markets that require an invite code or a referral link in order for the user to register and start their trading and transaction activities. These types of markets usually have an affiliate program giving commissions to users who have referred new users to the site through their respective referral links. There are market cases where different vendors apply different payment methods within a marketplace or payments arranged between buyers and sellers after they come in contact with each other without the market's intervention and involvement to their transactions. Wall Street Market and Dream Market are some examples of active invite markets. As we notice, one marketplace might be included in more than one of the above categories according to the transaction payments they offer. Let's see now how charges, transaction, and payments work. Three actors get involved in the transactions of a dark market: the sellers, the buyers, and the market itself as the intermediate enabler and service provider, bringing buyers and sellers together in one space, providing and ensuring anonymity, security, and trust among its users. It is recommended to select those vendors that are active on the site, don't receive a lot of complaints, offer good sale terms, have been operating on the site for a long time, and support multi-sig payments. Various types of charges and combinations of them are applied to vendors by the markets. One-off fixed registration fee when a vendor enters a market, fee which serves as a bond that is returned after a vendor closes the account or once he proves that he is a seller of good standing. Rental fees providing vendors the service to create their own stores within the marketplace. Rental fees vary depending on the size of the store. Commission percentages on sales made through the market sites. Tor is available for Windows, Apple, macOS, and Linux, and it can be downloaded from the link shown on the screen. You can download the PDF available for this video with active link. The browser is available in 16 languages, including Arabic, Deutsch, Spanish, Farsi, French, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Dutch, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, Turkish, Vietnamese, and Chinese, and obviously in English. To install Tor in Windows machines is a straightforward procedure. The user had to download the appropriate file from the list, save the file, and then open it. Choose Run